today's slices, it's Slicethia, and I think it's high time the Pie Network had a cooking video. So today I'll be making a pepper steak and oyster mushroom pie. So we've got the Singapore black pepper stir fry packet mix, some oyster mushrooms, some beef strips from the butcher, some corn flour, some cooking oil, and some frozen puff pastry sheets. The first thing to do is to cut up the meat a little bit finer than we've got it from the butcher. The next step is to toss the meat in some corn flour. This is easiest if you place the meat in a plastic bag. And we shake it all about a bit. The next step is to chop the oyster mushrooms into manageable sized pieces. Now we want to add some oil to the pan. And then we need to cook the beef strips. After the strips have been cooking for a couple of minutes, it's time to add the spice paste. As well as the mushrooms. And cook for another couple of minutes. Cut out the design for the top of the pie. Now the trick to working with frozen puff pastry is to work as quickly as possible and finish working before the pastry thaws, because the moment that it thaws it becomes very unmanageable to work with. So first we'll just get a toothpick and mark out the design. Once you have finished marking out the design, you can begin cutting. Just remember to work quickly. Once the design is completed, return the pastry sheet to the freezer before trying to remove any of the letters. While we're waiting for this sheet of puff pastry to thaw out a little bit, we can beat the egg for the glaze. And just trim off the excess pastry. And use it to fill in any unfinished segments. Next we want to poke some holes into the pastry so that it doesn't puff up, and blind bake the crust for a little while. Now it's time to add the filling to the pie. It's nice to crimp around the edges. It's time to use the design that was cut out earlier. Once the logo is in place, brush the beaten egg yolk over the entire top of the pie. And there we have it, a pepper steak pie with oyster mushrooms.